So thank you so much for being here today and for being willing to take some time to talk with our students at Trachtenberg. And I'd love to start off with you introducing yourself with your name and when you graduated from Trachtenberg and what you're doing now.
So thank you so much for having me. My name is Anamita Gall. I graduated from Trachtenberg in August 2013. So it's been about 10 years. And I am a civic design researcher with the lab at DC, which is within the Office of the City Administrator in DC government.
Terrific, terrific. And which program did you do?
So I did the Masters of Public Administration, the MPA program.
Wonderful. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with our 5 questions. And the first question is, what is the best networking advice you've received?
I think the best networking advice I received, and actually I'll think back, this is from when I was in Trachtenberg, from the career coach we had at the time, just before Denise, actually. I think Denise joined right in the middle of my program when I was there. And his advice was that you kind of have to treat networking a little like dating, or looking, you just have to put yourself out there. It is going to be awkward. It is going to be uncomfortable, but you kind of have to keep trying and push past that. And also think of it as time, and as you kind of build relationships with people, then it becomes a relationship. And just like dating someone, you kind of continue to maintain that relationship. It's going to evolve and change over time. And I think you just need to kind of approach it that way.
Yeah, and I think that's such a great point about networking being building relationships and not really just a transactional kind of approach where you're just asking
Yeah.
somebody for something.
Yeah.
Great, great. So let's move on to the next question. What specific action have you taken that you think significantly impacted any of your searches?
I think for me, what has really helped in more recent years with my searches for positions has been to, again, follow up on relationships or make connections, to learn more about, either if it was the employer or the position that I was looking at, see what I can do ahead of time to learn more about that, because what you see on paper in a job description is typically not what it may not reflect at all what you actually end up doing. So if I think to positions that I applied for just by looking at a paper application and got, fortunately, uh, they turned out to be wonderful in some ways, and then also were like perhaps not the right fit. And I think I found more rewarding positions through having more conversations with, um, people in the either who are doing the work or that are in the place that I want to work in. That's, I think, been most helpful for me. And
Did
that, I think,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was going to add that that definitely is something that comes over time after you kind of develop, obviously, some relationships through networking, um, but also, just maybe from time too of like getting exposure to different industries.
Did you find that you did what we call informational interviews or basically conversations with people where you were able to kind of get the inside story or more information, from their experience? Did you have those kind of specific types of conversations?
Somewhat, yes. Yeah, I definitely did have a lot of informational interviews. And then now I think as someone slightly, I guess, a little more um, along in my career, I kind of continue to kind of think of them as just ways to get to know people, and just to learn more about what other people are doing. And even being a few years into my career, I don't know that I can say that I have exactly found my dream job or dream position or dream anything for like the next whatever decades of my life. I'm certainly very happy in the position I'm in now, and I'm learning a lot. And I just kind of, I think once you approach everything through a learning mindset or a growth mindset, it kind of helps open up a lot more doors and avenues to you professionally, but also just personally. And you're more likely to, I think, find a rewarding or fulfilling career path, that works for your lifetime, because you're going to be balancing all of these things within your life, your personal life and your family life as well. And so it's just helpful to kind of continue to have those conversations. Um, I would say, for example, I'm actually hopefully reconnecting with someone who did our program and graduated just after me. It turns out she's also working in another agency that I'm going to be working with in DC government. And so we actually just joked recently about informational interviews, but we're reconnecting over coffee hopefully soon. And I think again, it's like another opportunity to learn about what she's been doing since we've last gotten together and what she's hoping to do in the future and what she's working on right now. It's just a fun way to kind of continue learning.
So the learning and the talking doesn't stop. It's not just about getting a job, it's about your whole career and in fact your life.
Yes, definitely.
Wonderful. Okay. So what do you think you found most helpful when you've prepared for an interview?
I think for me, personally, it helps to one, reflect on my resume and think about personal stories that go with each, certain positions or certain things that I think the job description might be looking for me to speak to. Um, I often really try to spend time reflecting on lessons learned I've had um, to share and to kind of provide the interviewer with like insight into the type of person and worker and leader I am, which they will not see from a resume.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's only so much you can convey in a virtual piece of paper.
Right.
Absolutely. Um, how did you showcase your capstone? I don't know if you want to think that far back, but did the capstone play a role in your job searches at the time, and how did you talk about it?
Yeah, I think I did list it. I do recall putting it on my resume or like featuring it or talking about it as kind of like a work-based learning experience that I, used or experienced while doing my graduate program. Um, perhaps like some of you or some others, who've done the capstone, mine, uh, there were a lot of lessons learned for our team. I think, which is the reality of when you're working with an outside entity that moves at their own pace, and you are a student in graduate school and you move at a different pace and are also trying to accomplish slightly different goals because this is an academic product as well as being like a product that you deliver to an outside entity, a third party, whether it's government or a nonprofit or a private entity. And so I think we had a lot of lessons learned. There were some challenges that we encountered as a team in terms of our working dynamic and also in terms of, um, I think, the final feasibility of the product we were able to deliver, because just partially because of things evolved so quickly with our partner at the time that um, I think they may have already started changing course by the time we were able to actually deliver the product that we were slated to. And so, you know, even if you have a project that perhaps doesn't go according to plan, think about what you've learned from that experience and communicate that, because I think employers are also looking to see how you work in a team environment. How are you owning up to challenges or mistakes or things that you could have done differently, to show them the type of person that you are.
So sounds like capstone may be a really good source of answers to certain interview questions about
Definitely.
team dynamics and challenging times and the like.
Sure, definitely.
Makes sense. Okay. That our last question. What specific action have you taken that you think's been most impactful on your career advancement, having been out of the program for a while now?
Can you repeat the question again?
Sure.
What?
Any kind of specific action that you've taken, and I'm getting a hint that it might be more on the theme of talking with people, that's been most impactful on advancing in your career.
Yeah, I think definitely talking with people has been very influential in helping me navigate my career. Um, and it's definitely something I've been using more in my navigation. I've been with DC government, local government for the last 5 years or now 6 years, and talking to people has definitely, um, allowed me to find where I could best use my skills uh, to serve residents, which is, something that I'm passionate about. Um, I also think that what I don't know if this is a specific action per se, but for me, I find that I'm a person, that has found it specifically in the DC market critical to kind of spend maybe a year or plus or almost 2 years learning a position and then start thinking about the next step. I think it's key to like first understand what you're doing, where you're doing it, what you can master that skill, and then look to go and acquire the next new skill or ability. And so I've probably spent like 2 to 3 years in each position, and I think that's helped me grow professionally and also advance in my career.
So not being afraid to make a move and not feeling like you're stuck in a certain place.
Yes, and then also, yeah, definitely, yeah, not being afraid to make a move. Within also, but and balancing it with a learning mindset to allow you to keep thinking about what makes the most sense to you and what you want to learn next.
Great. Terrific. Well, thank you for answering our 5 questions and thanks for joining us today, Anamita. I'm so glad that you were able to share your thoughts and give us some inspiration as well. And I know that our students will really, really benefit from that. So thanks again.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.